Like I said, I'm Jordan, I'm an alcoholic, and thanks for asking me to lead Chelsea. Super glad this meeting isn't really big, otherwise I might be like nervous or something. I'll fight you later. But anyway, so I like to start off with how my day went. Today I woke up in my house and opened a fridge, threw a bunch of groceries that I bought. I had some breakfast, and then some friends came over, and we watched the Browns game and dived a little bit inside, so that was fine. But you know, like, that was a hell of a lot better than November 2016 when I was breaking into my parents' house to get some money out of their room and living out of my car. So I'll take it. You know, like, it really, like, what led me to, you know, taking from my parents and living out of my car wasn't necessarily my addiction, but just like my way of thinking. And that always just stemmed from such a young age. Like, I was always selfish and doing things that I wanted to do instead of things that I should have been doing. You know, like, I remember often, like, 7th grade, my parents had to get like one of the neighbors to spy on me after school to make sure like I was following rules, not like having anybody over, and I'd always have people over, and like the guy was a snitch, but it doesn't matter, you know. That was my fault. It was my actions that got me into that grounding and whatnot, and you know, like, always carried that thought process of just overindulging and living in excess. I remember, like, my parents actually ended up putting a lock on our pantry because I'd come home after school and like eat all the good food in there. Like, all the Oreos were gone, Cheez-Its, like, forget about it, you're not having any. And like, dude, that was me before I even started drinking. Like, I was resentful towards my stepdad because he'd always try to tell me what to do, and resentful towards my dad because, you know, like, if his drinking didn't, you know, break my parents up, maybe like my childhood wouldn't be this way and I wouldn't be stuck with this lame stepdad who always tries to tell me what to do. And like, you know, like, that attitude and resentment carried over into like my teenage years where I just wanted to kind of rebel and lash out. And you know, like, that's when I started hanging out with, like, not like the cool kids, but just the kids that were up to no good. The ones that would set off bottle rockets in the hallway and smoke cigarettes in the courtyard. And you know, like, I carried that persona, and I ended up partying with them. One weekend when one of their parents went out of town, it was junior year. I remember I honestly, for the first time drinking, I think I took it like a champ. Like, I was just naturally an alcoholic. I threw back like 8 shots of like Kamchatka and then just a bunch of beers or something. We started smashing Yankee Candles in the street. It was sweet. But I can't imagine his mom was happy about that. They smelled really good. But anyway, so, you know, like, I was off and running from that point on. It was awesome. It was like the best time of my life, and I was chasing that feeling, man. You know, between the ages of 16 and 26, I encountered a lot of things that I feel like, you know, if you're in these rooms and like trying to get sober or are sober, you can relate to, like, calling your mom to bail you out of jail at like 3 in the morning, borrowing money from your parents, like $200 like a month before their birthday, and then not paying them back or like getting them a present or anything like that. Let's see. Yeah, not getting anybody any Christmas gifts, a lot of self-loathing, and just overall just selfishness, you know, not feeling like you belong and like kind of hating yourself because, you know, like, no matter how hard you try to not hurt these people or yourself, you can't stop drinking and like doing these ridiculously selfish things because, you know, like, when you're one of us, you have an allergic reaction to the alcohol, and like that's what makes us alcoholic. Once we start, we we don't stop until like we pass out or die or whatever. But you know, 0 to 100 real quick. But you know, like, I'm not gonna give you a whole chunk log. I got into a lot of trouble. I heard a lot of people constantly taking what wasn't mine, taking up a lot of people's time for like no reason. Towards the end, I honestly, I mean, like, I'd like to think that I had 2 friends, but really, I feel like at that point I was just getting a vibe, like they didn't really want me around because I was more or less making my problems theirs because I just couldn't manage my own life, you know? Like, hey dude, can I like crash on the couch? And they're like, yeah, like I guess this is seriously like the 4th time this week. I don't know why you want to hang out with me this bad. And I'm like, I don't, you just have a beer. You know, like, it got really lonely, and like once my parents stopped enabling me, honestly, and like I ended up in my car, that's when like I recognized, you know, I gotta get some stuff together, man. You know, like for a while I'd like use all these excuses because I tried to build up my life and still drink, and like, you know, like I did attain some things when I did it, and you know, like in a matter of like 6-7 months I'd like throw it all away just so I could just get drunk one last time, like just not show up to work or like leave early, like, you know what, I'm not having this, like I quit this job, I can like figure out something else. This is the restaurant industry, I can find a job in like a week. And you know, and then like those decisions would end up tearing back down everything that I just attained over those few months. And it was a constant pattern over those 10 years. And I just got sick of it. Last time I built it up to tear it back down, I had like a 1-bedroom apartment and like was on my last semester of school, and I had a girlfriend, like things were going really good, and I went on like a binge, man, and I had to like drop out of my classes and never ended up getting that degree. Couldn't afford my rent, so I lost my apartment. And then, lo and behold, my girlfriend's texting me like a week later, like, hey, I think you need to focus on yourself right now. And I was like, yeah, you're right. It's pretty lame. So, you know, I was living out in the car for a little bit longer, and I crashed on my one friend's couch the one night, and I was like drinking beer and like hating myself as usual. And I remember looking at this beer bottle, and it was Dortmunder, and like that was like my favorite beer, and I didn't even want it. And I just remember looking at it, and I'm like, dude, like I hate you. Like I don't even want to open this. I don't want to drink this right now. Like this sucks. I know this is the reason why my life is the way it is. And at that moment, I opened it up anyway, and I realized like I was powerless, and there was like a God moment, because I was watching some movie, I don't remember, I was drunk, but I do remember what it said. Like it was a part where the guy was like telling one of the characters, like, do you want to like do you want to stand up or just like remain on your knees like a slave to whatever? And like he was bound in shackles and stuff, and like, you know, like metaphorically that related to how I felt. Like I wanted to like get up and like try and like be free to do whatever I wanted, but honestly like I was a slave to, you know, like my addiction, and I controlled everything that I did. So from that moment, I started going back to meetings, and you know, like I tried like the outpatient and like the inpatient at Glen Bay for like a couple weeks and stuff, and like that never worked out. And I'd always like stray away from like these halfway houses. Like, you want me to like stay there 90 days? Like, no, you can miss me with that, like for real. And it's true. But I was like, you know what, like nothing's changing, and like I gotta do something different this time around. So I ended up like going to groups up at the Lantern, and you know, like I got lucky because honestly, there's a lot of people that show up to group there like every single day for like 5 weeks, and then like get in. And I was showing up maybe like 2 or 3 days a week for like 3 weeks, and I got in because one, I knew a guy who did group up there, or my mom did, because she's sober as well, and like I'd gotten a big fight with my stepdad the night prior to me showing up to the one group, and I walked into the director's office and I'm like, dude, like, to be honest, I relapsed last night, and I feel like I keep on relapsing because I'm not being honest with myself, and like, you know, like I didn't realize it at the time, or like the importance of like honesty and getting honest with yourself to actually start the process of staying sober. And looking back on it, like the director heard me say that, it was probably like, yeah, he's ready, like realizes he needs to get honest with himself and just do this thing. So I got in the Lantern, and that's when things really started changing. I met some amazing people, and they taught me how to get comfortable being uncomfortable, which I'm sure, like, if anybody went to a Lantern, you're so sick of that phrase, like, it's ridiculous, because they'd have group every Saturday, and the dude would just say over and over again, like, you guys gotta get comfortable being uncomfortable, man. And we're like, yeah, we get it, like, we heard this, like, 8 weeks in a row, dude. But, anyway, so it was super important, though, because once I got comfortable being uncomfortable, I recognized, like, things weren't changing because I was staying in my comfort zone and doing the same things that I wanted to do instead of the things that I needed to do, which was most always the right thing to do. And, you know, like, that's where the change originates. Like, you step out of your comfort zone and you start developing these habits that you never used to have, and then all of a sudden you're a different person because of it. So, you know, like, I just tried to practice that, and then I got my steps, and I got a sponsor, which is obviously, like, something I didn't want to do prior. And, you know, like, found some sort of spiritual way of living. I don't know, like, what exactly it is, but I just did what they told me to do, and, you know, like, things started getting better. I started attaining a lot more. And I just kept grinding, man. You know, I realized once I started going through my steps, like, this isn't all about me. This is about, like, doing the right thing and, like, actually spreading some sort of positive influence on the world around me. And like, you know, like, with the fourth step and everything, there's a lot of anger and resentment and just a lot of crap that I had built up over the years that, you know, subconsciously I didn't realize a lot, like, forced me to lash out in these ways that, like, hurt people and hurt myself, and made me remain selfish. And, you know, like, once I did that fourth step and, like, got all that out of the way and, like, moved on to my fifth, I felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders that, like, it sounds super weird, so, like, bear with me, and, like, my soul had been cleansed, so to speak. Like, I felt brand new, and, like, it was like a new beginning for me. And then, like, I went to do 6 and 7, and after, like, initially it was hard to do. Actually, it still is, like, super hard to do, but, you know, I was more focused on it in the beginning. You just try to, like, point out the aspects of yourself that are really deterring you from growing as a person, and like, trying to correct them, and that was incredibly important. And then did, like, the 9th, which was absolutely amazing. You just get to go, like, make things right with everybody that you did wrong in your past, and, you know, like, if it's impossible for that to not make you feel good, because, you know, like, you've been ripping and running all these years and, like, hurting all these people, and, like, looking back on situations where you know, it's like giving you kind of an excuse to hate yourself because you did that to that person. But like once you get through that, you don't have to hate yourself anymore. And like you begin to love yourself and can actually like bring that back out to others. And that's honestly what makes my life beautiful today. You know, the maintenance steps as well, like you gotta like keep track so you don't gotta end up doing another fourth like I am right now. But you know, just I don't know, man. Honestly, if I didn't start doing the things that these people told me to do in these rooms and like did it like the exact way that they told me to do it and didn't try to like find a workaround and just did the thing, like I would not be standing here today. I would not be sober. I would have maybe like a worn out living in Florida or like dead right now. Today, honestly, after I went through all this process, and I guarantee you it works because like, dude, I was a trash can. I kind of still am, but like way better than I was before. Way better. Like, I don't know. I forgot what I was gonna say. It sucks. Anyway, you know, like I got a lot of good things in my life because of this program. I have a career which is like seriously the highest paying, least stressful job that I've ever had in my life. So like I don't get how that can happen, but you know, I'm blessed, and I associate it with me just working this program and like continuously trying to do the next right thing. I repaired my relationship with my stepdad. He actually for years didn't like get the whole addiction thing and would just be like, why don't you just quit, man? And I'm just like, I can't, like, you don't get it. And he showed up to one of my leads, like my mom is in AA, and like he never showed up to a meeting for her ever, but then he showed up for mine, and I was like, yeah, I'm better. But it was cool. It was really cool. I almost cried at the podium, which was not cool, but I mean, you know, that's just how much I felt that. And like, I have way too many friends today. I never thought I'd say that. Like, that's actually a problem. Like, but like a really good problem. Like, I just like know so many people in these rooms, and everybody's just so welcoming and friendly, and like just open to getting to know you and allowing you to be a part of like their group and like experience stuff with them. And like, I spread myself thin sometimes where I'm just like, dude, like I need to like just chill out. I constantly have something to do, or like I'm hanging out with somebody, and like I literally like sit back and complain, and like think and like complain about that. I have no idea why. And like, you know, it like sobriety has helped me overcome like a lot of fears as well. Like, I've always been a creative kind of guy and do music, and I wanted to try out stand-up comedy, but I've like never gotten the courage to like get up on stage and like actually write my own jokes and like do it. And you know, I did, and I've been like performing here and there. It's hard to find time, but like I'm actually kind of good at it, and I want to like keep doing it. And I never thought like I'd actually have the courage to like put my fear aside and, you know, like express myself in that way, and like try it and like hope people think I'm funny, which is cool. And I don't know, man. I live a really good life today. I got relationships with my family. I got the house. I got the car. I got a career, and like I'm doing the comedy thing, and like I'm really freaking happy about it. But what I gotta remember though through all of this is like not resting on my laurels and like continuing to grow and like doing 10, 11, 12, which is like spot checking and making sure you got no pent-up resentments, and that like you're, most importantly, like you're staying in contact with your higher power, whatever it is. Like you can view it as love, like the Catholic thing, like whatever, man. Like as long as you find something outside of yourself that's influencing you, like you're gonna be all right. Because like if you're new, honestly, just realize like this thing works, and like listen to people, like do they tell you to do, because like I know it's not what you want to do, but like what I wanted to do before I got sober was, well, it just basically made me end up in jail or like hurting somebody, and like that, you don't have to live that way anymore, honestly, man. So I don't really know what else to say. I mean, you know, like, new people, get a sponsor, work these steps, man, get comfortable being uncomfortable, because this thing works, and like life gets amazing way faster than you could like ever freaking imagine. So that's it. Let's close with the Lord's Prayer.